How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Just Add Water Instant Classic. My name's Boston Mike.
I'm Mike D.
And Mike Wendy's is on vacation because he decided he's above this show. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel good because I think he wants to center himself and then come back with more vigor than ever. So I'm excited to have him back next week, but we're going to be flying with one less co-pilot today.
Well, that's big of you because it makes me feel like a nothing. It makes me feel like I don't belong.
Hey, man, he'll be back and he loves you. And hopefully he'll listen to the show.
Yeah. We'll get us one more hit on YouTube when he has to listen to it to catch up.
Exactly.
But he's hopefully enjoying his nice long weekend, as we hope you are as well. It's Memorial Day on Monday, so hopefully everyone has the day off.
Yeah, everyone will.
I think, right? It's national?
Yeah.
So maybe you work at like a food place?
So get outside if the weather's nice and enjoy it. I'm going to kick off our first segment of the day. We're coming back to the concept restaurant segment. We went to a bar last weekend to play ping pong.
It's called Fat Cat.
Yeah, it's called Fat Cat. You go. You can get a ping pong table. They have paddles and balls, and you pay per person. I think it was $6 an hour per person. And we went during the day, so it was totally empty. But they make all their money by people drinking while they play because it's a really social game. So we were actually thinking of a restaurant version of that, so that your table would be like either a pool table or a ping pong table, or maybe even one of those flat arcades that you could have. You could have Miss Pac-Man or Galaga or any game of your choosing. And then it evolved from there to us talking about dessert and how you could actually have your dessert could be the pieces of a chessboard. So your table would be checkered, and you could play a game of chess for dessert, but as you're taking the other person's pieces, you are eating. That's your dessert. You're eating, so you're earning your dessert. And we realized that's actually a better idea. The ping pong and the pool stuff has been done before, but we've never heard of a cafe where all the sweets and pastries are usable, functional pieces of different board games. So that's where we came out as far as our concept restaurant. And we actually believe in it and think
that this might be one of our few actual ideas that we have.
Yeah, so Mike, tell me about your ideal use case for this. You said earlier.
I'm trying to think of like
after
a name
movie theater
for the place too. Yeah, it would be like a perfect like maybe like your second or third date with someone. Like sometimes it's nice to go to a place that's like a just dessert place. Maybe you go to dinner, then a movie, and then a just dessert place. But like this would kind of possibly take the role from that dessert place, because it would be a dessert place, but it'd also be like it would still be an activity in and of itself, where you could be like, hey, I know about this place that serves like, it'll have like beer and wine and stuff, but it'll have like coffee, and then it would have all these pastries and stuff that's like fun. We can go play like checkers or backgammon or something.
Yeah, let's play checkers with little mini creme brulees.
Yeah, like you could kind of do it with anything. Like it would be like just a pastry shop that you could go, and like Mike said, it would be like all the tables would be checkered. But then we were talking about like other possible board games. So like if you tried Battleship, you could have like the cannolis of different length be like the battleships.
That was my favorite touch to the whole idea.
I think people would really like to play that, and that'd be filling. You could even do teams to try to, like, if you're afraid it's going to be too much food for you, you could do, like, 2-on-2 Battleship or something.
Yeah, 2-on-2, one designated eater per team.
One person guesses, one person eats.
Eats the cannolis. I really like it. I think it could even replace the movie part of the date.
You think?
Yeah, like, if you go to dinner with someone, that is sort of just the sustenance side of the date. Right. Shows that you're financially able to provide a meal and survival.
A chance to connect.
Yeah,
like
chance to connect.
that's your when you go to a movie, that's not your chance to like learn about the person or whatever. You might learn about like they like this type of movie, they don't, and that could maybe tell you about something. But outside that, you're just kind of sitting in silence.
Yeah, it's
maybe get a
maybe a little kiss, maybe a little hand holding. But a movie is usually about creating shared context, giving you a common ground to after the movie you have something to talk about.
Right. Yeah.
And it's a little less awkward, I think.
And what better place to talk about it than at Checkered Chocolates?
No, but I actually think Checkered Chocolates could be a replacement. That you go and you play board games and you eat some sweets and you have coffee and you maybe have a couple drinks and you actually get to talk to each other during the hour that you're doing that instead of sitting in a movie for 90 minutes.
Very true. I much prefer activities where you can like be engaged. Like my mom would always say like, "Hey, let's go do something as a family. Like let's go to the movies." And I'd always say like that doesn't count to me as like a family thing just because we're not, like you said, it's great for afterwards, giving everyone a common ground, something to discuss, but it's still 2 hours that you're just not like talking to the people really.
Yeah, it's a very individual experience.
And it's very good like piece of a night, but this would be more like maybe this would be better for like earlier dates in that you would eat because you need that.
You still are interested in talking to each other in the early dates. Maybe after 10 dates or so, you cross that threshold, you reach that inflection point where you really just want to you want to be physically next to someone, but you don't want to actually talk to them.
That's not what I think, but that is a funny thing that you're saying, Mike.
I'm just recommending an active experience.
And it'd be a fun place like for college kids to go, like maybe the kids who don't go out to bars and have
bad fake IDs.
Yeah.
And maybe this place is a lot easier on IDs. And no, it would be a great college activity.
And you brought up a great issue that would have to be discussed, worked out that like what do you do during the day, or like what would you do if people want to play multiple games of chess but don't want to like devour 3 games worth of chocolates? So we think you could have like, so you would sell them in like a unit, like here's like the starter pack, but also have like individual pieces. So if not all the pieces get taken, you don't have to buy a whole new thing, and they might all have a different quality. So like the queen might be like caramel filled, and like the king might be like dark chocolate or something like that. And the pawns you said would be like airier, so that they're not as
maybe
heavy.
maybe even just hollow.
Yeah, and then
like an Easter bunny.
Yeah, and then also, but also you could just like borrow normal chess pieces if like you're full but still want to hang out and play, and as long as it's not busy, you could just like go there to play games and not even eat if you don't want to.
Yeah, this is a real concern. What about sanitation?
I think you would. So this is my thinking would be that the chocolates would be in like some sort of tin foil, and then you would open it up.
Okay, that's a good solution, for sure. Because otherwise, people's fingers are all over.
Right, that would be kind of
tables,
gnarly.
and maybe they're gross eaters, and like they have gross melted chocolate on their fingers, and they're kind of smearing it all over the place.
And for Battleship, you can use those little dolly things that cannolis often come in. So they're not touching the board and getting all dirty.
Like a little hot dog paper thing? Is that what you mean? The little
exactly.
the little foundation for a hot dog when you get it sometimes. The little boat that's in.
Yeah, which is perfect because it's Battleship boat, dude. Come on.
Yeah, you're right.
This pretty much writes itself.
Yeah, I think this place could really exist.
I think so too. And again, 80% cut and free meals if you steal this idea.
And let us know. We need to be beta testers for this.
Yeah.
And eat the chocolates.
We need to be alpha testers. We need to be the only people you consider.
Yeah,
this.
I like that one. What is it? Checkered
chocolates.
Checkered chocolates. Yeah. Well, we could have a better name too. We're open to better names, but I'm a big fan.
Yeah. We are now going to move on to.
Sadly, we have to move on from that segment.
Yeah, as great as that. Yeah, sorry that wasn't so funny. It's just such a solid idea. It's just perfectly formed and crafted like the chocolates would be.
Yeah, that's actually too good to be funny.
Yeah.
Because I'm really thinking about opening it at some point.
Yeah, I mean, you opened a coffee shop not that long ago. How hard would it have been to convert into this?
Not that hard, and it would be really awesome to.
It'd be a great gimmick.
It would be awesome to open it, to not be opening it to make a ton of money, but just be opening it because you think it's cool and you want that to exist and you want to go hang out there sometimes.
Yeah.
So no one else open that, please.
You're gonna save that one.
Save that one, but not unless you're willing to do 99% cut for Just Add Water Instant Classic and put our branding all over it.
Oh yeah, definitely free advertising. But you can be a sponsor. Checkered chocolates. Why play a board game when you can eat one? Checkered chocolates.
Yeah, what if people flip the boards? That'll be an issue.
Yeah, if you have anger management problems, you're not allowed
just chocolates flying everywhere, dude. Left and right.
It'd be horrible. The M&M's risk game where you said like peanut M&M's would be the cavalry and like you could have the
a Hershey Kiss could be like the cannon.
Yeah. But like if someone flipped that, it would be like marbles on the ground. Everyone would be slipping everywhere. There's so many M&M's.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would get lifetime bans.
Yeah.
So we both saw the same movie, but we didn't see it together. But now we have a shared context to talk about. It was Grand Budapest Hotel by Wes Anderson, one of my favorite directors. What did you think right when you walked out? What did you feel like, and what did you think? Squash and how many squashed? And we'll get to this, but this is the squashed carrots segment, and we rate every movie based on how many squashed carrots
out of 7
does it deserve. And our first rating was that movie Neighbors that came out, which I didn't see, but it got a 6.2, which is that's high praise.
That is really high praise. So when I saw it with my girlfriend Hillary, and she really liked it too.
Great date movie, by the way.
Yeah, that was really good, and we were sitting in the back corner, so we actually kind of could like discuss it a little bit as it was going on.
Don't try and justify when I just attacked the movie as a date option.
I'm just saying, like, when it's with Hillary, it's nice, you know.
You stole a kiss or something?
I don't know. Maybe I got one kiss. It was nice, but we were like able to like appreciate it as it was going on, and not just like save all of our commentary for the very end. So I'm trying to think of like what my gut reaction was. I thought it was beautiful, like every scene. That's why I like Wes Anderson, which I'd never seen any of his movies till we were roommates in school, because like you and James like loved Wes Anderson, and I just love how much effort he spends in each individual shot. Like everything's on purpose, everything's so detailed. But in terms of like the plot and everything, I really liked it a lot. I imagine, I haven't seen Neighbors still, but I imagine I would like it better than I liked Neighbors, just by it being a comedy alone. Like, I like comedy movies, usually more than I like drama movies, but I guess this is still kind of a comedy.
Yeah, there's very funny scenes,
yeah,
right?
There's a lot of funny dialogue and everything. And the whole situation itself is pretty humorous. Like, it's just all ridiculous.
So that are you setting a lower bound on the carrot meter to 6.2 because of Neighbors?
That's what I'm saying. 6.2 is making me feel like I want to say like 6.5.
6.5.
But I don't do. But relative to every movie I've ever seen, is it a 6.5 out of 7? Probably not that high. But it would probably be like a 6, maybe a 5.9. I liked Royal Tenenbaums better, I think.
Really?
But it's probably my second favorite one I've seen of his, which I've probably only seen like 4. But
yeah, I thought it was top tier as well. I've spent a lot of time thinking about what makes his movies so good, and it really is it's the details, and you can tell when you watch Wes Anderson movie that he spent, even if you don't totally love the movie that you're watching, you can tell that he cared a ton about every scene, and that he really puts a ton of time into it. which to me is important because Hollywood kind of vomits these crummy blockbusters every year, and you know that they're just following this little recipe like that says special effects plus a lot of advertisements on TV plus superheroes is gonna equal big box office, and there's no love in that. So sometimes they're good superhero movies, but sometimes they're horrible and they still do okay, and Hollywood's happy to put them out. But when you see a movie like Wes Anderson's, where you can tell that he really was obsessed by this whole world that he created, then I think it's pretty awesome. I think it kind of ties into the 10,000 hour rule, which is a Malcolm Gladwell concept. I know you're reading Tipping Point right now.
Yeah.
But that to gain mastery in something, you need to spend 10,000 hours doing it, which is a ton of time, and it really only can happen if you become obsessed with something and really care. So it's not an accident that Wes Anderson makes good movies. Like he puts in, he easily puts in the work.
He wakes up and he works.
He probably just starts to daydream about the world that he's creating at the time, probably to an obsessive level, and maybe even to the detriment of some of his relationships and stuff, just because he's probably always thinking about it.
Yeah.
But it makes good art. So that's the trade-off. What
did you think of the actors and actresses in the film?
Oh, phenomenal.
Like who are your favorite?
How do you... is it Fiennes? How do you say his name? The main guy.
Yeah.
He was incredible.
Yeah, I think it's Fiennes, right?
I think
he was in English Patient. He was Voldemort.
Yeah,
he was great, right?
Incredible. That was like an incredible performance.
His character was so interesting.
Yeah, he really did have a heart, but he also was kind of a ruthless, demanding guy. That was a perfect character.
I liked Zero a lot too.
Yeah, Zero was good.
I will say, when they first said his name was Zero, it immediately made me think of Holes.
I didn't
Zero is the name of the kid who he like climbs up the mountain with and stuff. Who's like stole the shoes initially. That whole crazy thing where Stanley Yelnats somehow joins up with Zero. So it's just like I couldn't get that out of my head for the first like 10 minutes or so. But then as soon as I got past that, I really liked his character as well.
Yeah, I didn't go there because I think I read Holes once and I didn't really like it that much.
You didn't see the Shia LaBeouf film?
No, I don't think so. It didn't stick with me, so I didn't even go there with the zero thing. But I'm gonna give it a 6.3.
To edge out Neighbors.
Squash carrots, yeah. Squash carrots out of 7 squash carrots. Because I think that I know that I shouldn't change my rating scale based on Mike Wendy's, but I don't want Neighbors to be a 6.2 and Budapest to be less than that.
I understand. I definitely understand. On my own scale, ignoring the Neighbors and ignoring yours, I'd probably give it a 6. But I'm giving it a 5.9. Just because it deserves
just to put it in that 5 range.
Yeah. So to move away from Grand Budapest, which you should see based on our ratings, it was good. We have a segment that we call "Please Don't Stop the Segment," where we talk about music and what's going on in the music world. Some artists that we really like that came out with something new. Some new up-and-coming artists we never heard of, but like heard one song and listened to the rest of their collection and thought it was great, whatever. And so I'm a big Coldplay fan, which is kind of my tragic flaw.
That's your top. No, it's not a tragic flaw, but that's
my
your
Achilles heel.
That's your favorite group, right?
Yeah.
And favorite musical group or solo artist.
Right.
It's your top.
Yes, for better or worse. Some people can't stand them just because of how mainstream they've become.
Yeah, I've made a million Coldplay jokes.
Yeah.
But hey, I gotta respect them.
But hey, I gotta throw them
I gotta respect them because they've had incredible success, and they have made some really good songs.
Yeah.
Even if sounds like you too, man.
Whoa.
No, I'm kidding, but that's the easiest Coldplay joke is the U2 joke.
Yeah.
But
or the 40-year-old virgin. No, not 40-year-old version. Yeah, was it 40-year-old version? Where they say they're saying "No, how I know you're gay."
Oh yeah,
the whole thing back then, because they mentioned that in it. But so they released an album last Monday called Ghost Stories, which is pretty good. I don't know what I would rate it on a squash carrots type scale, but it's definitely not my favorite Coldplay record. I can already tell you that. It's only 9 songs. And it's pretty short. Not that makes an album bad.
Do you think they mailed it in?
No.
Or the 9, were they planning on more? Is 9, is that short for them?
I wouldn't be... It's short for them. Coming off an album that was 13 tracks or something. Granted, a few of them were 40 seconds or whatever. But it still felt longer. This one... It seems like they were just kind of it still sounds a lot like Coldplay, but it seems like they were trying to experiment with a few different sounds. I feel like critics will say that they were borrowing a lot from people, like Avicii. There's an Avicii produced song which definitely sounds like Avicii, or more so than any other Coldplay song does. Certainly, it still sounds like Coldplay, which is what's cool about it. But they also have a song called Midnight, which is another single, which sounds kind of like Bon Iver a little bit, and so that's probably gonna. I'm sure if you go to the Midnight music video, there's probably tons of people in the comments that say this sounds like Imogen Heap, this sounds like Bon Iver, they're ripping off, which maybe, but it was probably more of wow, they made this really cool song that inspired us to try our own take on it. I don't really know how their music process goes.
Where do you come out on that distinction? There's a quote that says I think it's something along the lines of good artists borrow and great artists steal, or something like that.
Yeah.
Where it's you're obviously going to be inspired by all of the stuff that you've consumed and the stuff that's really spoken to you. So to try and just to do something because no one's ever done it before doesn't mean that it's going to be art or that it's going to be good. Right. You're always going to be inspired by something and then try and move it forward.
Yeah, as far as music goes, especially I feel like in hip hop, hip hop's so self-referential that you couldn't possibly hear a song and it not refer to some other rap song. And I think it's all very positive. It's all a big tribute. I'm thinking Kanye West Homecoming when he says I met this girl when I was 3 years old, and what I love most, she had so much soul. And he's talking about the city of Chicago. That line is from some older rap song, and I don't remember what one or who, but I know it is from another song. And just so many lines are just they'll just little nods, little winks kind of to older rappers that influence them, and I think that that's really good. You wouldn't want someone to come out with a song that's just a cover,
a whole verse from a song.
Yeah, that would be rough. But when you hear something like that, and Kanye's giving a nod out to Biggie or something like that because he probably helped influence him to become the rapper that he is, or I'm just making it. I don't know that that's true, but I'm just using their names as an example. That's something that's really cool. You would think for any type of art, a movie, to put a little, if there was some... We keep seeing all those ads for A Million Ways to Die in the West, or whatever, that new Seth MacFarlane movie. If there was some, nod to Blazing Saddles in that, I would really appreciate that. The Mel Brooks Wild West.
Yeah. I totally agree.
I feel I wouldn't think oh, he's stealing that. I would think of that as
he's paying respect.
Yeah, he's saying I know I'm not the first person who did this. There was a great thing, and that influenced me to make this film and do my own try it for myself.
Yeah, I like that. It I guess some forms of art, it's harder to make it clear that it's a respectful nod.
Very true.
So for music, if you're doing if it sounds if it just sounds like it, then people might
think it's ripping from
they don't. It's hard to convey that you're doing it out of respect rather than Avicii. If someone does something with Avicii, they make a lot of money, so we're just gonna like make a song that's with Avicii.
Yeah,
it's hard to convey that, I think.
For sure.
You just have to have faith.
Gotta have faith.
Please don't stop this segment.
Yeah, so I'd say it's definitely worth listening to, giving it a try, but
yeah, I will.
I'm not gonna say that it's better than like A Rush of Blood to the Head or something like that. But it's still good.
Don't you dare.
Don't you dare.
So what a Squashed Carrots would you give it?
If I were to give it Squashed Carrots, I don't know, like a 5 maybe 5.2. Like definitely better than if I listen to just a random album on iTunes. Like it's gonna be way better. But as far as Coldplay goes, it's probably not even in my top 3 favorites. Granted, it needs some time to like. I've only listened to the full album like maybe 5 times since they came out. So maybe it needs some time to grow, but I still like a Rush of Blood to the Head better. I still like Viva La Vida better. Maybe even Parachutes, possibly Milo Xyloto. It might be better than X and Y because X and Y was the most U2-y like version of Coldplay you can ever get. But
hey, well, thanks for being honest and thanks for sharing.
Thanks, man.
And thanks for being here for the show.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for listening to the 3rd episode.
Yeah.
Of Just Add Water Instant Classic.
Each episode will get progressively more and more classic.
Yeah.
That's part of our
deal. I think this one was
deal.
better than the first 2, don't you? It had no Wendy's, so 10 times better.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming and have a great week, everybody.
Bye, guys.